I am Rabbi Alan Friedman from Temple Beth Shalom in Austin, Texas, and I'm one of the co-chairs tonight. This is a night to learn how the leaders from Texas IAF Network will work to organize voters in support of the agenda issues we are going to address tonight. Our saying is arrive with five. Each of us arrive with the names of five other leaders to build the army who will sign up voters for our agenda.
Now, as we continue to work to develop our agenda of issues for sign up and take charge, we are going to hear some stories of how we have already been taking charge in our communities during the COVID-19 pandemic. After our victories are presented, we are going to ask our allies to speak to the importance of our work. Now we will listen to our presentations.
Good evening, leaders. COVID-19 exposed San Antonio's dependency on low-wage hospitality jobs. 150,000 people lost their jobs overnight. The CARES Act provided our community $350 million, and Cobb's Metro was the first at the negotiating table. Our leaders fought for the funds to be used for COVID-19 testing, emergency housing, and workforce development. Cobb's Metro secured $115 million for workforce development as a down payment towards creating a high-skill, high-wage workforce. Unemployed workers will receive a living wage stipend, job training, and wraparound services through Project Quest, the gold standard in workforce development. Funds will also enable Quest to double its capacity to 2,000 individuals. Tonight, Cobb's and Metro challenges our sister organizations to work together to secure more state and federal funding for workforce development.
I am Mother Minerva, leader with Central Texas Interfaith. When the pandemic hit, we did not react, we responded. Texas IAF leaders held house meetings to learn how COVID-19 was impacting our community. We heard stories of people concerned about buying food and paying rent. We met with experts in IAF seminars and learned how the CARES Act could be leveraged to relieve pressures for our families. So we went to work. Central Texas Interfaith met with Austin Council members and Travis County commissioners and got them to commit over $50 million of CARES money towards rental assistance. Collectively, Texas IAF won over $250 million for rental and income assistance for low-income families, including those that were left out of the federal stimulus package, $250 million.
Carito Garcia with Dallas Art Interfaith. In 2017, Texas passed SB4, an anti-immigrant bill that brought freedom to the Latino community. DAI worked with 5 police departments to accept the parish ID for identification, and we have issued now more than 12,000. But little did we know how important of the two it will be during this pandemic. About 60% of the COVID-19 cases in Dallas are Latinos. We call families, and some of them have the symptoms, but our county was requiring a government-issued ID for testing. DAI met with county health officials to get parish ID accepted for COVID-19 testing. Also, we are working to get testing sites in our congregations. Parish ID is giving immigrants the confidence to report crimes and now literally saving lives.
Hi, I'm David Lee Sincere Jr., pastor of Fort Bend Transformation Church. I have the honor of representing Fort Bend TMO near Houston, Texas. Just like many places across Texas, COVID-19 has economically devastated the most vulnerable communities in Fort Bend County. It was amazing to see how our TMO organizers trained and mobilized faith leaders in our county to advocate for a $23.5 million rental and utility assistance program. As a newly organized chapter, TMO showed faith leaders in Fort Bend County that if we work together and take a stand for the most vulnerable, we can make a difference. TMO, thank you for believing in us. You helped us keep thousands of residents in their home. Soon, we will be formally organizing our new chapter. If you live in Fort Bend County, we would love to have you. Thank you.
Question to Professor Charles Sable. What is your reaction to San Antonio's GI Bill?
I think there couldn't be anything more timely or more important and of higher stakes either for San Antonio or for the nation. The only thing I'd like to point out is that what you folks are trying to do and what you will do in San Antonio is in its way even more ambitious than the GI Bill, because the GI Bill trained people for jobs, good jobs, in an economy that was starting to zip along. And you've got to not only use what you've learned about wraparound services, but you've got to work with employers to create good jobs that aren't there in the first place. But you've already pulled off one miracle by being the gold standard in providing those kind of wraparound services. And if there can be one miracle, I'm sure you guys are going to provide two.
Question to Professor Gilarducci and Mike Gahey. Your analysis regarding the CARE Act provided the areas for immediate action. Will you continue to work with our organizations in moving forward and understanding the next stimulus package?
Sure, I'll go first. First, we, and you all know this, have to keep advocating for a new stimulus package. It's not clear that we're going to get one without the continuing leadership and on the ground hard work that you all do. And of course, I'd be happy to help in any way we can. We need renewed unemployment insurance. We need a lot more direct aid to states and cities to help spend in a creative way that y'all are doing it. And not just money, but we need, as you know very well, justice. We need justice for working people, the poor and marginalized. So I'll be happy to help in any way I can.
Of course, the answer is yes. I am so proud and flattered that you've asked me to help you. I've admired you for decades. I want to say that in the next CARES Act, the first dollar, the most important effort should be towards raising the unemployment insurance benefits. The federal government gave $2,400 extra to those who are unemployed. It's a good plan because it's targeted to those who need it the most. It also improves the labor market. Raising the benefit for people who are out of work makes the employer who may employ them raise wages, hours, and working conditions. So people need a good floor in order to get a good job. The second dollar should be spent on raising Social Security benefits permanently, $200 per month for everybody. The reason that is good is because it's universal. Everybody gets it. The wealthiest Social Security recipients will have to be taxed, so we'll claw that back. But we need a targeted plan and we need a universal plan.
Question to Professor Bredethon. In your new book, Christ and a Common Life, you write about the formation of a people through a specific kind of politics to do things together. Can you elaborate?
Huge honor to be with you, and thank you for your wonderful question and your beautiful work. Yes, as was mentioned before, as in Exodus, so in organizing, it's the formation of a people whose common life is characterized by justice and generosity and mutual care that it is the form and measure of human flourishing. And the issues that I think that IAF addresses, whether it's decent housing, living wages, or how we're going to have a constructive response to the crisis of COVID, are the beginning point, but they're not the main point. The main point is organizing is the quality and character of relations between people, strengthening local institutions which people have created for themselves to meet their needs, congregations, burial societies, credit unions, and the like, and linking and strengthening relationship between these institutions. And so a thriving neighborhood or a city or a state is dependent on the ecology of trust and mutual aid, as well as the strong institutions serving the interests of their members that sustain this trust and mutual care over time. And none of this happens spontaneously. It needs organizing. And through organizing, a people moves from being a mere population to being a people characterized by love and justice. And that really is the beauty of the work you all are engaged in. And so thank you for doing it.
Question to Dr. Allen. Texas is at a critical point. We are beginning to flatten the curve, and now our numbers are spiking again. ICU beds at the Texas Medical Center, the largest facility in the world, is at 97% capacity. Dallas is at 72%. Our state has put commerce over public health. At the same time, bars and water parks remain open. Your leadership on COVID-19 has been extremely helpful to us in understanding the best ways to defeat the virus. The Texas IAF organizations are working on training contact tracers. Professor Allen, what is your reaction or advice for us, and will you continue to work with us in fighting this pandemic?
I will absolutely continue to work with you and welcome whatever suggestions you have for how I can best assist you. I want to celebrate you and lift you up for making very clear to your public leaders and officials that you will not accept abandoning any parts of our society, any part of your community, that you are committed to protecting the lives and the livelihoods of all the members of your community. So I want to really celebrate you and lift you up for doing that work of contact tracing. The point of the contact tracing work is that early in the epidemic, the goal was just to flatten the curve. We need a more ambitious goal. The goal now is to break the chain. Breaking the chain is how we get case incidents back to near zero. That's how we protect lives, livelihoods, and liberties together. So the work you're doing with contact tracing could not be more important, but it's also really important to carry the message about the importance of breaking the chain to everybody. And that does mean contact tracing, but it also means masks. It also means staying 6 feet apart from others if you're in a group context, group setting. So you are educators, you are teachers, you lead by example, and you lead by your words. And it's time for us to share those messages with everybody. Break the chain, build contact tracing teams, wear masks. We do this because we do not abandon anybody. We will protect our communities. And yes, I will work with you. Tell me what I can do.
Thank you.
We have been taking charge for our families in this pandemic. Now it's time to take charge by hearing how we can expand our agenda of issues for sign up and take charge. Before we discuss our agenda, we need to hear why and how SUTC and Get Out the Vote builds our power so that our organizations can transform pain into possibility. To help us to understand, Ernie Cortez, our national director.
Many years ago, one of my favorite state political leaders was a very cynical, skeptical, but very caring Lieutenant Governor Bill Hobby. And he once said in an airport to several people, he asked, one group was doing voter registration and they were going to do 150,000, and another group was going to do voter registration and they were going to do 150,000. And then he looked at me and said, well, what is IAF going to do? And I said, well, we're going to do 150,000 too, Governor. Well, that adds up to over 2 million registered voters. Okay, I'd like to see that. So the next time we met with Governor Hobby, we went into his office with 150,000 cards of people who had actually registered to vote, to show him we weren't just bluffing, we were serious. We had the proof, evidence right there on his desk. He was a little bit embarrassed and said, I didn't need to see this. I knew you were going to do it all along. But nonetheless, he took it in good humor. That gave us the impetus to begin the Sign Up and Take Charge campaign, because we had an ambitious agenda: water and sewer services for the colonials, workforce development, indigent healthcare, billions of dollars of money for property poor school district. And so in 1988, we began a campaign of Sign Up and Take Charge. And we're successful in signing up over a 2-year period, 350,000 registered voters who are committed to that agenda. As a result of that, we're able to launch an initiative of water and sewer services to the colonials, workforce development project, Quest, Capital Ideas, property poor school district funding with indigent healthcare and the Alliance schools, and other initiatives all across the state. We need to renew that commitment. All organizing is disorganizing and reorganizing. All organizing is disorganizing and reorganizing. We need now to disrupt whatever complacency we've allowed ourselves to develop. We need to dismantle whatever passivity we've allowed ourselves to engage in and begin an effort to really liberate our people. Rabbi, when Moses was going to liberate the children of Israel from the bondage in Egypt, they had to cross through a sea. Is that correct?
That is correct, Ernie.
Okay. And so Moses wanted to part the seas, did he not?
Yes, indeed.
He called upon God to do that, right?
Yes, he
But
did.
nothing happened.
Nothing.
Nothing happened until one lowly guy, what was his name?
Nachshon.
And what did he do?
He went into the waters of the Red Sea, into the Reed Sea, up to his nostrils. And only at that point did the waters part.
So we required the effort, the initiative of a lonely guy who no one remember his name anymore. But because what he did, that meant the people were freed, were liberated from bondage. Okay, Moses would have been out there flapping in the wind. Okay, until kingdom come, if Nachshon hadn't moved.
That's right. You need that one guy to go out front and do it.
Well, we need a little bit more than one guy. We need about 5,000 little guys. Okay, 5,000 little guys and little girls and people of all kinds. Okay. People of all stripes need to get out and do what Nachshon did and take a chance and take a risk and get into the water, even up to your nostrils, even if you think you're going to be drowning, and keep moving. And that's what sign up and take charge has got to be. Okay. It's got to be an effort to build those kind of commitments, that kind of leadership. And we do it through house meetings, through training sessions. We do it through being attentive, through deliberation. We need to build a constituency. Okay, we need to build a constituency so that when politicians come to us and ask for endorsements, we say to them, our people say to them, where are you in our agenda? Ronald Reagan went to a Christian Coalition meeting and told them, I know you cannot endorse me, but I endorse you. That was the smartest thing he ever did. We need to get to the point where politicians come to us and say, how do I help you with your agenda? How do I make it possible? What do I got to do? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those words of inspiration. And now that agenda that Ernie spoke so passionately about, this is the Texas IAF Sign Up and Take Charge agenda.
In 2008, the Governor Rick Perry and the Texas Department of Public Safety changed the lives of over 4 million undocumented Texas families when they took away the privilege of having a driver's license, and my family was one of them. This was done in the name of public safety. Our families continued to drive, and as a consequence, we now do it in fear of being detained and deported for lack of an official identification. 15 other states in the USA extend this privilege to all residents regardless of their status. And the time is now for Texas to extend the same privilege to essential workers who risk their lives every single day to keep America running.
I'm Father Gabriel Garcia, pastor at St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church in Dumas, Texas, and a leader with WTOS LEAD. Our county, Moore, ended up being the most infectious county out of the 254 in the state of Texas. This has brought a lot of challenges to our community, as well as our neighboring counties, Randall and Potter. Our biggest concern is the workforce of the meatpacking plant in Cactus, with more than 3,000 workers, mostly migrants. The workplace offers an excellent environment for the spread of the virus. This has had a huge impact in our community since a large segment of our Hispanic population works at the meat plant. They face the fear of being infected, the risk of losing their jobs if they report sick, and are now facing the danger of being reinfected. Some people have contracted COVID 2 and 3 times. Some of them struggled to be tested, even when they had severe symptoms and were not taken care of by the healthcare facilities. Our people are essential workers who have been treated like they were expendable. In the Texas Panhandle, we are beginning to organize to ensure adequate testing, contact tracing, and access to care is available in our community.
Mi nombre es Alma Garza de Carmen Anaya Elementary School. Durante la crisis del COVID-19 nos vimos de frente ante un cuadro crítico. Falta de trabajo, de dinero y necesidades. Entre ellas nos faltó internet y computadoras para nuestros hijos. Cuando cerraron las escuelas, encontramos que el 80% de padres, no solo del Valle, sino también Houston, Austin, San Antonio, estábamos en la misma situación. A pesar de los riesgos, solucionamos reuniendo 5 niños por un domicilio, improvisando así sus clases virtuales. Necesitamos el apoyo de la legislatura, que nos proporcione recursos para invertir en la educación de nuestros hijos, ya sea en casa o en la escuela.
Hi, I'm Father Thomas from St. James Episcopal Church in Houston. We're working together with TMO for justice. We're working together with them for police reform. All of us saw the horror of the injustice of what happened to our brother George Floyd, and we don't ever want to see anything like that happen again. We know that there's some things that need to take place, that we need to have stronger citizen review boards for the police department that have teeth. We also know that we need to have real, genuine community policing. And we also know that on top of it, we need to have a database, a comprehensive database that shows all of the police officers that have been fired by other departments. Now, change has to take place, but in order for change to take place, we've got to work together. We've got to get out there and take what we were marching for over the weeks to the polls and turn that marching into action at the polls. We need to do the work of the people in order to make a difference in our communities. So I want you to join together with me and my congregation here in Houston, and all of us work together to get as many people out to the polls as we possibly can. We're doing our work over here. Let us all do our work all around the state, and let's make a difference at the poll, and let's make a difference in the lives of the generations to come, that they may have a brighter future, that we may eradicate all injustice around us. Let's do it together.
I'm Trent Henderson, a leader of Central Texas Interfaith and a board member of Capital Idea, Austin's workforce development program. Tonight, you've heard how COPS Metro built upon Project Quest and leveraged over $100 million in city and county funding to expand workforce development through their new GI Bill. COPS Metro has given us a proven model for success. We can simultaneously lift families out of poverty and sustain our long-term economic recovery. Multiple new GI Bills in our cities could provide the tuition, housing, and wraparound services struggling families need to take on critical, high-paying careers our healthcare and technology industries depend on. We long fought for the opportunity to bring our workforce strategies to scale. We can now support a much larger, more diverse group of students in community college. This November, we must make candidates for local, state, and federal office commit to new GI Bills in communities across Texas.
Professor Osterman, you've been an ally and friend of this network for many years, and we believe workforce development is an important issue on our agenda as we face this new economy that is arising out of this pandemic. Do you agree with that? And will you continue to work with us to expand this strategy?
Thank you. Yes, I completely agree with that. I've had the pleasure of working with the network for over 25 years on job training issues, on living wage issues, on a range of problems like that. This is actually, it's a terrible time, but it's also a tremendous opportunity. For the first time, the national dialogue really recognizes the importance of frontline workers and supports them, and you read about that every day in the paper. The politics around this may very well be changing. So now, how do you proceed? How would the network proceed? There are basically three strategies that you have. One is to make bad jobs into good jobs, to create job ladders, to enforce living wages, family supporting wages. The second is to move people into good jobs through programs like Project Quest, Capital Idea, Vida, Job Path, and so on. And then third is to create more good jobs. You can do all of those things. Now, San Antonio had a major victory and a remarkable success. And the first thing for all of the organizations in the network to do is to either build their job training programs, expand them, or to start new ones. But I want to agitate you with 4 challenges. These job training programs are terrific. They serve thousands of people. Community colleges serve tens of thousands of people, 20,000 people, up to 100,000 people. Those are the numbers. But the success rates of community colleges are not terrific in your communities. Do research actions to understand what's going on in your community colleges and think about strategies to improve those community colleges. You've got leverage now because you have political power now. Fix your community colleges. Insist that all care money go only to living wage firms, that the subcontractors who receive care funds pay only living wages, don't pay anything less than that. And think hard about public jobs. There's lots of work that needs to be done in your communities that are good jobs. They're jobs you can train for. Create those jobs and use the care leverage money and use your political power to do that. Those are my challenges to you. You've accomplished a tremendous amount, and I hope you go forward. And I, of course, will continue to help.
Texas IAF, if these issues are important to us, we must continue building relational power in this state. The Exodus story continues today. We, the 1,700 leaders here today, are the prophets like Moses, who was called to set the people free. Set them free from slave jobs, set them free from not having access to mental health for our adults and children, set them free from police brutality, and set them free from inequality. As Professor Bergerman writes, we are the history makers, and this is the legacy we are leaving our children. The Texas IAF network is ready to take to the streets and sign up voters to our agenda of issues and march them to the polls starting October the 19th for early voting through Election Day on November the 3rd. It's time to hear our commitments. Texas IAF, are we ready? Our goal is to sign up 200,000 voters to our agenda of issues and deliver them to the polls in November. Some issues were presented tonight, but there are other local issues each organization will add to their agenda. Through House meetings, we will identify 5,700 leaders from across the state, and each one will sign up 36 voters to this agenda of issues and make sure they vote. Organizations, are you ready to report?
I'm Alex Horn with Dallas Area Interfaith. I'm here with 400 leaders tonight, and we are excited to launch our summer trainings on July 6th. We are committed to 40,000 voters this fall.
My name is Lupita Valdez, member of Sacred Catholic Church and a leader of Caps Metro, and I will have 500 house meetings. Our first meeting will be July 7th. And we're going to turn out 50,000 voters.
I am Dr. Doshi Piper, a minister at True Vine Church and a leader in the Interfaith Community Action Network. We are building our constituency through small group conversations and civic academies from our 20-member institutions to deliver 15,000 voters to the polls.
My name is Daniel Tires, here in the far west reaches of Texas. I am speaking for Episo Border Interfaith in El Paso, and we are committed to bring 10,000 additional voters to the polls. Viva El Paso, viva IAF.
My name is Cynthia Quintanilla, Executive Director for Catholic Charities and a leader with WTOS in Lubbock, Texas. And we are committed to conducting 100 House meetings and bringing at least 3,000 voters to the polls. Let's take charge.
My name is Carlos Coronado, leader of the Border Organization in Del Rio, Texas. The Border Organization is committed to 20 House meetings and 3,000 votes.
This is Moises Robledo with Holy Family Catholic Church of Valley Interfaith. Valley Interfaith leaders commit to holding 70 House meetings and getting 15,000 voters to the polls in November. Sí se puede.
My name is Paloma Rodriguez, Director of Social Outreach at Emmaus Catholic Church in Lakewood, Texas, a leader of Central Texas Interfaith. We will have 1,000 leaders among 6 Central Texas counties in house meetings, trainings, and civic academies on COVID testing and more. We are committed to bringing a constituency of 35,000 voters to the polls. Let's do this.
This is Brian Lopez, community leader from Houston, Texas, representing TMO.
We are excited to announce our commitment to host 200 house meetings in the next 3 months to discuss community issues and organize to deliver over 50,000 people to the polls. Let's go.
We, the Texas IAF, commit to deliver 221,000 voters to the polls this fall. Let's make history.
We will hold ourselves accountable to this strategy. Thank you, everyone, and our special guests. Let us enjoy the music, rejoicing, and remember to get out the vote. Texas IAF, go forward together and get the work done.
Wherever you are at this moment, lift your voice and say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice